Hello everyone, thank you for coming. I'm glad to share this lecture again. Today we are going to talk about my favorite beverage, tequila or mezcal. In a few minutes, if you're wondering why I've mentioned two names, we are going to learn what the specific difference is. Don't worry. So, how is tequila made? How to drink tequila the right way? Can I share it with something else or not? I'm on tenterhooks for answer everything, step by step. Okay, there is almost no way you can hear the word tequila and not think about colorful Mexico. The town of Tequila is the birthplace of Mexico's national drink. It is a magical town filled with colorful buildings and cobblestone streets. Let's move on. Firstly, one of the most important stages of the process is the harvesting. For that reason, it is strictly necessary to know the agave. This plant is primarily used as a food source. The sap is collected and fermented as a mild liquor that, when it is distilled, produces mezcal or tequila. In addition, some other tribes use agave to treat wounds, rashes, chapped lips, and sunburns as well. Thus, mezcal is a distilled alcoholic beverage made from any type of agave. Agaves are found mainly in many parts of Mexico and south of Ecuador, though most mezcal is made in Oaxaca. Today, mezcal is still made from the heart of the agave plant, called piña. The agave is usually harvested when it is 7 or 8 years old. The spines of the plants are cut off and remaining heart, called the piña, which means pineapple, because it is reassembled to the fruit. And it can weigh up to 100 kilograms or 220 pounds, cutting the mezcal into half. However, mezcal producers often follow the traditional method of using in-ground pits. The agave heads, also called agave heart or piñas, are roasted or grilled over hot rocks in a cone-shaped pit. A fire is started and burns for about 24 hours. It heats the stones that line the pit. The whole thing is then covered with agave leaves and fibers and straw mats, peeled up with heart and left to roast for 4 days. When sufficient time has passed, the roasted piñas are removed from the pit. Roasting brings out the natural sugar of the agave. It is very sweet, and it is often sold in markets in Mexico in chunks to be eaten, in which case the tough fiber is chewed, then discarded. After the agave is crushed, it is placed in barrels to ferment into ethyl alcohol in order to become a spirit. It is combined with yeast and water in large fermentation tanks. This process used either large stainless steel tanks or large wooden barrels, where hot water is added to left for a few days. Then it is filled to the top with cold water and left to ferment for a few more days. The exact period of time will depend on the weather. When it is hot, the fermentation process is quicker. Distillation. After the fermentation, the mash is distilled. The first distillation yields low-grade alcohol. The fibers are then removed from the still and the alcohol from the first distillation is distilled a second time. After the second distillation, mezcal is blended to obtain a consistent grade of alcohol. Then the mezcal is either bottled right away for a immature mezcal called joven or blanco, or it is left to age in oak barrels. Sometimes a worm, actually a larva from inside the agave plant, is added to the mezcal at the time it is bottled. Only the mezcal reposado has a worm. Mezcal reposado is rested between 2 months and 1 year. Some people say that the worm adds to the flavor of the mezcal, but others claim it is simply a marketing gimmick. Mezcal against tequila. Let me tell you some aspects to clarify the differences. The number one, the name. It is obvious, but it is important to mention because this difference emerged due to the protected designation of origin, or PDO. I'm going to take a break here. Do you know what protected designation of origin is? In a few words, product name registered as PDO are those that have the strongest links to the place in which they are made. Secondly, raw material. One agave plant is used to make tequila. However, any agave plant is used to make mezcal. Mezcal do not have a specific plant. We have the legitimacy, the purity of sugars to make mezcal or tequila. Until 49% of other sugar are used to make tequila. For example, it uses sugar, cane or molasses. On the other hand, mezcal only uses sugar from agave, hence 100% of agave sugar. And finally, the last difference, elaboration. It is strongly related to the flavor. Artisanal or ancestral techniques are used to make mezcal. For that reason, mezcal has an incredible flavor and aroma. But we can find some mezcals prepared like tequila, which means it was prepared with industrial techniques. For instance, conical ovens with hot rocks are used to cook piñas from agave, and this can be cooked for 4 days if it is necessary. On the other hand, autoclaves, which is a strong heated container used for chemical reactions and other processes using high pressure and temperatures, or masonry ovens are used. You can have a finished product in 1 day. Okay, we have concluded our lecture for today, but I want to give you guys the last advice about the right way to drink and taste tequila. Firstly, you will look at the color. If the tequila is blanco, gold, reposado, aged or extra aged, they will have a different color. Then, sniff the aroma. Some expert can realize that agave was used. Try to find their notes. You will likely note lighter, citrus, fruity, and floral smells. Do not bother sniffing at the top right, since you will get the more alcoholic, volatile vapors there. Finally, taste. Tell your tongue what to be looking for when you actually taste it. Inhale before you take your first sip. Do not forget that. And once you have the tequila in your mouth, inhale through your nose. Swallow it over the tongue, and then exhale hard over your tongue to really excite your taste buds. Cheers! Thanks for coming. See you next time.